students. I am Miss Alexander, your social studies teacher. Welcome to lesson 11. Today we are continuing in our discussion on natural regions and we will start a new subtopic, the coastal plain. Now, if you were unable to join us for the previous lesson, I encourage you to mark off chapter 2 in your New Horizon book 2 and you can revisit it after today's lesson. Now, our friends rejoining us in this lesson will do a quick recap to help us understand exactly what was done in lesson 10. So here goes. We understood that the natural region is a basic geographic unit distinguished by its common features of geography, geology, and climate. We understood too that a natural region refers to an area where the buildings, the climate, the vegetation, and the way of life of people are similar. So here are a few questions for you. This is a fill in the blank, so select the correct answers. Two natural regions are. We did list them the last time we met, and so we would just like for you to identify two of the natural regions. All right. If you provided two of the following responses, then you are correct. The coastal plain, the hilly sand and clay area, the forested highland, and the interior savanna. This is your second question. The largest natural region is? The largest natural region is? For those of us rejoining us, you do know that this was one of your takeaway activities. So I trust that you would have completed the activity and you would have been able to answer this question. The largest natural region is the forested highland region. So if you observed that and that was your answer, good job to you. This is a third question. The natural region closest to the Atlantic Ocean is? The natural region closest to the Atlantic Ocean is? This was another one of your takeaway activities. All right, if you said the coastal plain, you are correct. Good job. All right, so this is a true or false question, so listen keenly and respond with either true or false. Sugarcane and rice are resources found in the hilly sand and clay area. Sugarcane and rice are resources found in the hilly sand and clay area. Is this true or is this false? Take a few seconds. Remember we did the activity? All right, if you said false, you are correct. Here is another question, our final question. Gold and diamonds are found in the forested highland region. Gold and diamonds are found in the forested highland region. Is this true or is it false? The statement is true. Good job. I'm very happy that you remembered some of the key points that were made in the previous lesson. You did a good job. Now, let's move into today's lesson. In today's lesson, you will be given takeaway activities to complete. Those of you rejoining us do know that I love to give activities and I trust that you've been doing them throughout. Now, These activities may require you to either work independently or it may require you to seek assistance from someone else or perhaps an institution based on what the question is. So, what are the objectives? Students should be able to 1. Describe the coastal plain and 2. Identify economic activities of the coastal plain. So let's get right into the discussion. What are the physical features of the coastal plain? When we speak of describing the coastal plain, one of the areas that we want to touch on is the physical features. The coastal plain stretches from Point Playa in the northwest to around Oriala in the northeast. Our coastline has often been described as flat and narrow. It is flat because there are no rolling mountains and hills found there. It is a narrow strip of land when compared to the other natural regions. So for those of you who would have completed the activity from lesson 10, you would have realized that indeed, observing that the region is closest to the Atlantic Ocean, you would have recognized that it's a very long stretch. And you can observe same on the map shown on the screen. So here's an activity for you. Let us take a quick look at the map we used in lesson 10. And if you are joining us for the first time in this lesson, I encourage you to draw the map of the natural regions in your book. Observe the narrow nature of the coastline. Now you would recognize that areas or places such as Anna Regina, Georgetown, New Amsterdam, Rose Hall, and Corriverton are all located in this narrow stretch of land, stretching from the northwest to the northeast. All right, let's continue. Another feature of our coastline is that it is below sea level. As a result, sea dams and seawalls have been constructed to keep out the waters during the high tide. People on the coastline experience 2 wet and 2 dry seasons. Coastal dwellers also enjoy the cooling breeze of the northeast trade winds all year round. There are also mangrove trees along the coast which form natural breaks against the Atlantic Ocean. In places where these have been removed, sea walls and groins have been built to break forces of the waves. So now let's seek to understand the population of the coastal plain. People live in many villages and towns along the coast. Of the 9 towns of Guyana, 5 of them are located on the coastline. These are Anna Regina, Georgetown, New Amsterdam, Rose Hall, and Corriverton, as you can see on the screen. Here's another takeaway activity for you. I would like for you to draw a map of Guyana, and you're going to include the coastal plain and locate the 5 towns of that natural region. Now let's seek to understand the economic activity of the coastal plain. In Book 1, we said that our coastline is the most important area for farming. This is because of the fertile soil and the climate found there. So let's talk about farming, which is the first economic activity. Arable land are the main resource of the people on the coastline. In the past, sugar plantations were established on the coast, and many coastal dwellers worked there. Some coastal dwellers are engaged in arable farming, while others are engaged in peasant farming. On the peasant farms, poultry, small stock such as sheep and goats are reared, and mainly cash crops, for example, tomatoes, green vegetables, ground provision, other fruits and vegetables. The second economic activity is manufacturing and industry. Our coastline has many people who also work in industries. There is the industrial estate in Georgetown, where there are garment and other factories. There's also an industrial estate in Eccles, located on the east bank of Demerara, and one also located in Collagen on the east coast of Demerara. There are other manufacturing industries along the Demerara River. There is also the clay brick factory, which is called the Mount Tai Overseas Foundation Incorporated on the west bank of the Demerara River. The third economic activity is fishing. Coastal dwellers also work in the fishing industry. Fishing is done by fishermen with fishing boats or by companies with trawlers. The fourth economic activity is tourism. Tourism is a rapidly developing industry on the coastal plain. The famous Shell Beach, which attracts many tourists, is in this natural region. The beach is about 135 kilometers long. In Book 1, you learned about 4 species of sea turtles found in Guyana. Can you remember the names of any one of them? All right, let me remind you what they are. The names are the leatherback, green turtles, hawkbills, and olive ridley. From March to July every year, these turtles lay their eggs at night in the warm sand at the beach. Many tourists find this site very interesting. The fifth economic activity is creation of various forms of employment. On the coastland, the people have used the natural resources, for example, the arable land and water, as well as man-made resources, for example, factories, for their benefit. As a result of the establishment of manufacturing industries, employment has been created for many people. So let's revisit some of the key points as we wrap up today's session. We learned that 1. The coastal plain stretches from Point Playa in the northwest to around Oriala in the northeast. We also learned that physical features of the coastal plain are it is flat and narrow. It is below sea level. The third point that we learned is that sea dams, sea walls, mangrove trees, and groins protect the coastal line. The fourth point that we want to take away is that our coastal land is the most densely populated area of Guyana. The fifth point that we will take away are that 5 towns are located on the coastland. These are Anna Regina, Georgetown, New Amsterdam, Rose Hall, and Corriverton. The sixth point that we will take away for today is that various economic activities take place on our coastland. Those include farming, industrial and manufacturing works, fishing, and tourism. Well, students, this has brought us to the end of our lesson. Do remember to complete the activities that were given. I am Miss Alexander, saying bye for now and see you in the next lesson.